This was an extraordinarily vast hall. As far as the eye could see, its end was shrouded in a blur, giving the entire hall the appearance of a place before the dawn of chaos. Bang! At this moment, in a certain area of the hall, two figures suddenly dashed out. In the next instant, they intersected sharply, fists and feet clashing, with energy erupting like a volcano. A closer look revealed the figure to be Lin Dong. Oddly enough, the two figures were identical, yet one bore a vivid expression, while the other displayed a blank, emotionless gaze with pitch-black eyes, void of any sentiment. Despite their identical appearances, the emotionless Lin Dong was evidently more powerful. In their fierce battle, his fist broke through defenses with brutal precision, landing a forceful blow on Lin Dong's heart. The impact was so fierce that it tore through his heart like a blade. Thud. A violent surge of energy exploded from Lin Dong's body, ripping it apart. An unbelievably intense pain coursed through him. Yet, though his body was brutally torn, Lin Dong did not die. He felt his consciousness begin to float, while the emotionless Lin Dong remained motionless. Within the inescapable divine prison disk, mirrors are divided into the three classes of heaven, earth, and man. You cannot even defeat the weakest man-class mirror. It seems your spiritual energy has indeed been neglected for too long. A spectral image appeared mid-air, eyeing Lin Dong's clustered consciousness, and spoke calmly. Lin Dong seemed to crack a bitter smile. This spiritual mirror knows all my moves and is slightly stronger. Beating it is not simple. Besides, this guy is ruthless. This inescapable divine prison disk was where my master once trained his spiritual energy. Although being torn here won't actually kill you, the pain will feed back several times more into your spirit. Here, as long as your consciousness holds, your spiritual form will continuously regenerate, said Yin, glancing at Lin Dong's jumbled consciousness. If you can't even endure this, there's no point in further training, as future endeavors will be even more painful. You should know that in this world, power doesn't come without a price. Lin Dong's consciousness took a deep breath. You don't need to tell me that. Continue. Lin Dong's consciousness flickered, gathering light to reform a spiritual body once more. He clenched his fists slowly, then looked up at the mirror image that turned to face him, launching himself forward without any further words. Bang! Bang! The two figures clashed fiercely once again. This time, Lin Dong only lasted a few rounds longer before the mirror image blasted his head apart. Huff huff. Lin Dong's consciousness floated, faint sounds of heavy breathing echoing, carrying an unmistakable pain. One more time. Lin Dong gritted his teeth, his form regenerating, and dashed forward once more. Bang! Bang! In the hall, deep sounds continually echoed. The two figures collided repeatedly like relentless beasts. Whistling wind accompanied the explosive force of their punches. Lin Dong's spiritual form, in each repetitive clash, was continuously obliterated by the impassive mirror image. Yet, he showed no trace of defeat. His consciousness churned, reforming spiritual bodies one after another, charging like a berserker driven by fury. However, perhaps numb from the excruciating pain, Lin Dong did not notice. With every regeneration, the light on his body became more restrained, while the time the mirror took to defeat him subtly extended. Here, there was no primordial energy, only a will as steadfast as a mountain. 435 times. Yin observed the spiritual body reform again and again. He sensed that Lin Dong's consciousness was now quite blurred, though each spiritual body formed was unknowingly as solid as metal, driven by sheer stubbornness. Such obstinate determination earned a trace of admiration from the usually critical Yin. A person's flesh may be weak, but without a powerful will, they are destined never to become a true force. Although Yin had been in slumber for a long time, he had witnessed the journey of that once naive boy, gradually stepping out from the small great Yin dynasty to reach the heights of today. And yet, this was not the journey's end. Yin always sensed that this young man, who was not yet considered mighty, would inevitably grow to a strength that even he, Yin, would admire. Boom! A muffled sound echoed below. Yan's gaze shifted, eyes narrowing slightly, as he saw the mirrored hand once again pierce through Lin Dong's heart. However, at the same instant, Lin Dong's fist shattered the head of the mirror image. A brutal mutual destruction. The mirror image rippled before slowly dissolving into nothingness, while Lin Dong's body fell back, breaking apart upon impact and transforming into a drifting wisp of consciousness. Back in the cultivation hall of Thunder Abyss Mountain, Lin Dong's tightly closed eyes suddenly snapped open, his face ghostly pale, and beads of cold sweat trickled down his forehead. His clenched fists strained as veins surfaced on his arms. Though his physical form was unscathed, as his spirit returned, the dreadful pain surged once more like a tidal wave. Lin Dong's body trembled, resisting the overwhelming pain for nearly half an hour before finally relaxing slightly, though weakly. The 8 masters of old have similarly faced this cultivation, Yin remarked as he materialized. Then where does my performance rank? Lin Dong casually inquired, wiping away the cold sweat. 9th, Yin replied with a twitch of his mouth. So, last place then? Lin Dong chuckled. Indeed. The devouring master of old failed 100 times against the first man-level mirror image. Ranking 2nd, Yin paused before continuing, while the Ice Lord, who ranked 1st, failed 11 times. Lin Dong's body stiffened slightly, then, unable to help himself, nodded, impressive. Only after clashing with that mirror image could one appreciate its strength, yet the Ice Lord managed to defeat it after merely 11 failures. Such excellence defies mere talent, explaining why she was considered most likely to reach the ancestral talisman master's level. In contrast, Lin Dong failed over 800 times before conquering the same mirror image, a disparity that left him somewhat embarrassed. However, this doesn't signify much. Your foundation was weaker than theirs back then. They were guided by my master personally, whereas you have mostly trained alone over the years. With the same guidance and conditions, I imagine your results would improve significantly, Yin said softly. Perhaps. Lin Dong grinned, but his eyes did not show a hint of defeat. Looking up at the massive light disk above, a fervor ignited within his dark eyes. However, I've always been stubborn, so I don't plan to lose to anyone. Resume your training tomorrow, Yin suggested with a hint of surprise, evident after Lin Dong's declaration. This form of training was excruciatingly painful, requiring several days of recovery after each session. Yet, seeing the fiery determination in Lin Dong's eyes, Yin refrained from objecting, nodding gently, with a faint touch of satisfaction in his gaze. Over the following month, Lin Dong barely left the cultivation hall. Every day, he would enter the inescapable divine prison disk, subjecting himself to a trial akin to near death. Aware of his past neglect of spiritual energy, he knew compensating for it now demanded tremendous effort. But fortunately, through the intense and painful training, he could gradually feel the spiritual energy within his Naiwan palace surging and solidifying at an encouraging rate. At this pace, achieving the great completion of Immortal Talisman Master became simply a matter of time. Meanwhile, little Yin remained in seclusion, and Lin Dong focused on his spiritual energy cultivation, leaving Thunder Abyss Mountain's affairs largely unattended. Fortunately, Chen Tong and Huo Miao were more reliable than the two brothers, ensuring smooth management of Thunder Abyss Mountain without major issues. Though they initially wanted to call on Lin Dong, they dismissed the idea upon sensing the astounding energy fluctuations from the hall. They perceived that Lin Dong appeared to be in a critical phase of his training, resigning themselves to retreat. In the cultivation hall, the spiritual energy was becoming more intense. Suddenly, the air outside Thunder Abyss Mountain was pierced by the sound of rushing wind. Two figures approached from the sky, clad in blue robes adorned with the image of a blood dragon, exuding an imperceptible aura of authority. Envoys from the Blood Dragon Hall. Thunder Abyss Mountain's demon commander, come greet us at once. The two figures appeared outside Thunder Abyss Mountain, their cold voices booming like thunder across the mountain range, echoing endlessly with the force of their mighty primordial energy. Thunder Abyss Mountain was instantly alerted, and countless sounds of wind breaking arose. Suspicious eyes fixated on the two aerial arrivals. Who are you? A powerful figure from Thunder Abyss Mountain called out with a grave expression, eyeing the blue-robed newcomers. It's just a change of demon commander. Has Thunder Abyss Mountain forgotten its true master? One of the blue-robed figures sneered, their voice chilling the air further. Haha, I see it's the two commanders from Blood Dragon Hall. Apologies for not welcoming you sooner. A few figures emerged from Thunder Abyss Mountain, led by Chen Tong, who quickly greeted them with a forced smile. Oh, it's you, Iron Lion General Chen Tong. Still holding your position despite the change in command? You must have done well, said the blue-robed figures with a faint smile. Chen Tong's expression shifted slightly, aware of the mockery in their words, but not daring to retaliate. Respectfully, he asked, to what do we owe the visit of the two commanders to Thunder Abyss Mountain? Our demon commander is currently in closed-door training. In seclusion, sneered the blue-robed man with a sharp chin. Call him out. We're here to deliver a message from Lord Blood Dragon. Your new commander, I've heard. Is that former General Yin? Upon hearing the name Lord Blood Dragon, Chen Tong and his companions exchanged worried looks. They were familiar with this legendary figure, who dominated the beast combat domain for centuries. As generals of Thunder Abyss Mountain, they knew well the ties between Suzhong and Blood Dragon Hall. Chen Tong exchanged a glance with Huo Miao, then looked toward the distant Cultivation Hall inside the deep mountains. There were strong spiritual energy fluctuations, but the one in seclusion showed no sign of emergence. Commanders, the demon commander is in death seclusion. If there's something urgent, could you tell me, and I'll pass it on when he emerges? Chen Tong suggested hesitantly. As he finished speaking, he felt an enormous pressure from the two figures ahead, followed by a chilling voice. Your new commander is quite bold, making Blood Dragon Hall wait. Even Su Zhong couldn't dare. If you won't fetch him, we'll do it ourselves. With a sneer, the blue-robed figures darted toward Thunder Abyss Mountain. Commanders, please stop. Chen Tong's expression changed drastically, shouting as he tried to intercept. Humph! But as he moved, a cold snort was heard. A massive light imprint descended, slamming into them with great force. Boom! The impact sent shockwaves wide, forcing Chen Tong and his men back, staggering in disarray. Blood Dragon Hall's two commanders were renowned and powerful, each at the perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage. Even Su Zhong would struggle against them, so they were clearly unable to resist. The two commanders barged into Thunder Abyss Mountain, their piercing eyes scanning the Grand Hall emanating spiritual energy. Lord Blood Dragon has a message. Will the new demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain not come to receive it? Their voices, filled with power, enveloped the hall. Despite their calls, the Cultivation Hall remained silent, undisturbed. With the combined might of both individuals, not just a grand hall, but an entire mountain would be obliterated to dust on the spot. However, just as their formidable primordial energy was about to strike the grand hall, an immense surge of spiritual energy blast erupted from within, colliding with the fierce assault. Boom! The massive sound echoed as large cracks rapidly spread around the hall, causing the ground and mountains to tremble like an earthquake. The two commanders noticed their attack was thwarted. Their eyes flickered with surprise, followed by a cold sneer. So, you do have some skills. No wonder you could take Su Zhong's demon commander position. Still, we shall see if you'll reveal yourself today. With these words, roaring primordial energy surged around them like a tidal wave, an impressive display of power. Boom! Yet, just as they were planning to attack again, the sky above them suddenly gathered rolling black clouds. Within the storm clouds, silver lightning coiled, its thunderous roar spreading an astonishing fury across the heavens and earth. Is this the wind and thunder calamity? The two commanders stared at the gathering dark clouds, sensing the formidable power. Their eyes narrowed in surprise. This wind and thunder calamity is this intense. It seems someone's spiritual energy is about to break through to the great completion of Immortal Talisman Master level. And the new demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain even has such formidable spiritual energy? The commanders exchanged looks, both furrowing their brows. Demonic beasts focus on honing their physical body and primordial energy, and apart from certain breeds, others generally have weaker prowess and spiritual energy. Meanwhile, Chen Tong and his group arrived, observing the commotion in the sky. They were astounded, knowing Lin Dong's strength, yet hadn't anticipated his profound mastery in spiritual energy as well. Boom! Within the thunderclouds, violent lightning gathered furiously. The looming black clouds churned, and in the next instant, a dazzling bolt of lightning, like a thundering dragon, rushed downward, aiming directly at the grand hall below. Boom! As the lightning roared downward, everyone saw a figure suddenly appearing above the hall. He gazed up at the violent lightning, showing no intention to evade. Instead, his hands opened slowly. The lightning finally descended, and the hall was reduced to ashes almost instantly, revealing a massive bottomless pit to the crowd. Yet, no one seemed to care about that. All eyes were on the slender figure in midair. As the lightning raged past, he remained unscathed, as if the earlier violent lightning had no effect on him. An uproar spread across, causing the Blood Dragon Hall's two commanders' eyes to focus sharply. The figure paid no heed to the surrounding uproar. He looked up at the swirling dark clouds, his dark eyes seemingly flickering with lightning. He then raised his head slightly, frowning at the clouds, and spoke softly, "Disperse." The fiercely rolling thunderclouds suddenly paused. Everyone watched in disbelief as the clouds, filled with extreme violence, began to recede, gradually dissipating under their watchful eyes. Did it just disperse? Chen Tong and his group were dumbfounded by this scene, their faces showing peculiar expressions. They well knew about the terrifying power of the Talisman Master's Wind and Thunder Calamity, and yet, it dispersed at Lin Dong's casual command? They had never witnessed such an ability in all these years. As the thunderclouds dissipated, the sky became unusually quiet. Lin Dong clapped his hands lightly, a smile appearing on his youthful face. He then turned to the two in green robes, cupping his hands with a smile. "Oh, it's our friends from Blood Dragon Hall. What brings you to Thunder Abyss Mountain? You are the new demon commander of Thunder Abyss Mountain?" The two commanders evaluated Lin Dong, frowning. "Hee, the new demon commander is my brother, but he is in seclusion. If there's anything, you can discuss it with me." Lin Dong replied with a smile. The two commanders exchanged a glance. Perhaps seeing Lin Dong's capabilities earlier made them less aggressive. They remarked coolly, "Lord Blood Dragon is aware of what happened at Thunder Abyss Mountain," yet he said nothing much. Lin Dong nodded with a smile. "But Lord Blood Dragon asked us to convey a message. Does Thunder Abyss Mountain still wish to recognize Blood Dragon Hall's leadership?" The commanders gave Lin Dong a penetrating look. He had no interest in competing with the Blood Dragon Hall for any leadership position. As long as they didn't harm his interests, he couldn't be bothered to engage further. Hearing this, the two commanders nodded, their expressions carrying a hint of satisfaction as if acknowledging Lin Dong's sensibility. In that case, Thunder Abyss Mountain should deliver this year's tribute as per usual, 300 million profound primordial pills. Also, the opening of the Divine Relic Treasury is in just over a month, and as per the rules, any divine relics acquired by Thunder Abyss Mountain in the last 10 years must be handed over to the Blood Dragon Hall. The two commanders spoke plainly, although their voices gradually weakened as they noticed Lin Dong's face, once full of smiles, growing increasingly detached. "Blood Dragon Hall wants to lead. I have no objection." Lin Dong slowly raised his head, his dark eyes locking onto the two commanders from Blood Dragon Hall. However, no profound primordial pills. As for divine relics, Thunder Abyss Mountain doesn't have enough as it is, so we're not giving any more. Chen Tong and others were dumbfounded by Lin Dong's indifferent demeanor. This man was indeed as domineering as ever. Lin Dong's calm voice still lingered in the air, while the faces of the two Blood Dragon Hall commanders darkened slowly. "Heh, such audacity. Do you realize what your words entail?" A man in a blue robe glared ominously at Lin Dong, sneering. "Don't think that just because you defeated Su Zhong, you have the right to be arrogant in the beast combat domain. The waters here are much deeper than you think," added the other commander from Blood Dragon Hall, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Lin Dong chuckled lightly, interlocking his slender fingers and staring calmly at the two men ahead. I'm well aware of what I'm saying. If you have any issues, report them to the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander honestly. I have no problem with him being the boss around here, but if he wants something from Thunder Abyss Mountain, there's nothing to discuss. Lin Dong shunned petty power struggles, but his pride wouldn't allow Blood Dragon Hall to trample over him, especially when it came to divine relics. Even if he wasn't interested in them, arming Thunder Abyss Mountain with such items could significantly boost their combat prowess. Hand them over? Unthinkable. What a conceited tone. Both Blood Dragon Hall commanders shouted furiously, their eyes turning piercing cold. But can you really make such decisions? When the fury of the Blood Dragon Hall descends, will you be able to withstand it? As their words trailed off, their gaze fell on Chun Tong and the others. However, Chun Tong and his group averted their eyes, well aware of the deep bond between Lin Dong and Little Yin. Whatever Lin Dong decided, Little Yin would resolutely support. Besides, although they couldn't voice it, they were quite dissatisfied with Blood Dragon Hall in their hearts. Lin Dong had shown them many miracles, and they understood that he always had his reasons. If he dared provoke Blood Dragon Hall, he likely had his own confidence. It seems your reputation at Thunder Abyss Mountain is quite high, but since we've come today, we're not leaving empty-handed. Since the new demon commander is in seclusion, let's take you back to Blood Dragon Hall, and he can fetch you once he's ready. Seeing Chen Tong's reaction, the faces of the two Blood Dragon Hall commanders turned completely frosty. With a hint of killing intent in their eyes, they gazed at Lin Dong, speaking slowly. Boom! As their voices dropped, a torrent of primordial energy surged forth like waves, enveloping the entire Thunder Abyss Mountain with overwhelming pressure. This is Thunder Abyss Mountain. You two won't be allowed to act recklessly here. Chun Tong shouted angrily, waving his hand as countless shadows charged forth, their eyes watching the two commanders vigilantly. Humph! Yet the two Blood Dragon Hall commanders paid no heed to Chun Tong's shout, their cold eyes fixed on Lin Dong. In a swift motion, they transformed into two black streaks, darting out like lightning. Simultaneously, gray light gathered in their hands, forming two exceptionally sharp and lethal black spikes. Lin Dong watched the two streaking figures, gesturing for Chun Tong and the others, who wanted to help, to stand down. His dark eyes observed the swift approach of the two figures. Swish! The two figures appeared before Lin Dong almost instantaneously, the sharp spikes tearing through space with a bone-chilling coldness. Clang! For elongated fingers, appearing at an unknown moment, clamped down on the two sharp black spikes like iron pincers. These fingers seemed to grow bluish scales, which prevented any harm from the spikes potent enough to tear a perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage expert apart. With such limited skills, you dare swagger around seeking trouble? Isn't that a tad overconfident? Lin Dong raised his head, saying with a faint smile as he looked at the two Blood Dragon Hall chiefs, whose expressions had slightly changed. Chun Tong and his companions, approaching closer, were momentarily shaken by Lin Dong's effortless halt of the two menacing assaults with just 4 fingers. You! The two Blood Dragon Hall chiefs' expressions momentarily froze. Such a feat, stopping their attacks bare-handed, was something they rarely encountered, especially from a young man of mere-life Mystique stage accomplishment. It seems the rumor wasn't false, that the one who killed Su Zhong wasn't the newly promoted demon commander, but indeed a human. The Blood Dragon Hall chiefs said solemnly, fixing their gaze on the young man. Only now did they realize that this seemingly unremarkable individual was truly a hidden, wrathful Azura. However, we won't be as easy to handle as you think. A dark gray wave of primordial energy suddenly surged from within them, and their bodies began to swell at an incredible rate. Sharp scales burgeoned from beneath their skin, emanating a ferocious aura. Within mere breaths, the two chiefs transformed into creatures resembling half-lizards. Blades composed of scales emerged from their backs, turning them into cold killing machines from afar. Lord Lin Dong, be careful. These two belong to the demon lizard tribe and possess traces of dragon blood. rendering their bodies extremely powerful. Chun Tong and his group hurriedly warned upon witnessing the transformation. Hiss! A ferocious light erupted from the two individuals' bodies as they glared maliciously at Lin Dong. Then, wrapped in abundant primordial energy, their razor-sharp claws tore through the void to strike mercilessly at Lin Dong's head. Lizards? Lin Dong raised an eyebrow yet remained unmoved. His fists shimmered with a surge of azure light as scales emerged, bearing a layer of dignity and gravity that surpassed the gray scales on his adversaries. Clang! A piercing metallic sound spread out as sparks flew. Ripples of energy were visible from the collision point, distorting even the surrounding space from the shock. What strength! The two Blood Dragon Hall chiefs staggered backward several steps, their eyes widening at the sight of Lin Dong's azure-scaled fists, feeling an overwhelming pressure emanating from him. Let me show you what real dragon power looks like. Lin Dong grinned at them, and deep within his eyes, azure light coalesced into a blue dragon that spiraled and coiled within. Azure light flourished around him, forming blue dragon patterns that soon integrated into his skin. Sizzle! Lin Dong's skin wriggled, and his body rapidly expanded. His blue scales flickered and transformed his arms and legs into dragon claws and legs, tracing sharp curves and exuding a terrifying aura of power. A half-dragon form? Spotting this transformation, the Blood Dragon Hall chiefs' faces changed instantly. The sense of oppression coming from Lin Dong was even stronger than that from the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. This wasn't to say Lin Dong's strength exceeded that of the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, but the aura he emitted was undeniably pure. Whoosh! But Lin Dong didn't allow them the luxury of shock for too long. With an icy smile directed at them, his figure blurred momentarily. Retreat quickly! Their pupils contracted rapidly as they instinctively began to retreat. Too slow. Yet just as they tried to pull back, a playful voice came from behind them. Startled, they flicked their eyes backwards only to see two massive dragon fists, echoing with dragon roars, barreling towards them. Bang! Nonetheless, they weren't easily deterred. Even in such a situation, they deftly twisted their bodies, crossing their arms as torrents of primordial energy surged forth. Iron Lizard Wall. Before them, the space seemed to solidify, with the gray primordial energy morphing into an iron wall adorned with intricate patterns swiftly spreading across it. In Lin Dong's ice-cold eyes, lightning silently surged up his arms, gathering into the dragon fists. Lin Dong's fists finally slammed down on that sturdy defense, followed by a resounding boom. In that instant, an indescribable force erupted like a volcano suppressed for millennia. Crack! Cracks rapidly spread across the fortress-like defense, and in the shocked gaze of the two commanders of Blood Dragon Hall, it shattered completely. Two figures were sent flying backward in a pathetic retreat, slamming into a mountain peak, their bodies embedded deep within the rock, much to the astonishment of Chen Tong and the others. Lin Dong's expression remained indifferent, showing no intention of mercy. With a clasp of his hand, a spear formed from blue light, crackling with traces of lightning at its tip. You wanted an answer? Here it is, he declared coldly, hurling the power-laden spear towards the fractured mountain wall. Whoosh! The spear shot forward at an astonishing speed, tearing through the sky. Just as it was about to pierce the two commanders decisively, the air above the mountain tore apart. A massive, blood-red hand emerged, catching the spear and crushing it to pieces. You brat! How dare you attempt to kill my Blood Dragon Hall members? As the enormous hand appeared, an enraged and menacing voice filled with killing intent echoed from the rift in space. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. Chun Tong and his companions turned pale upon hearing the voice, while Lin Dong's eyes narrowed as he stared at the spatial tier. The sky split as the blood-red giant hand emerged, crushing the spear with ease. The voice's cold, murderous intent caused the surrounding air to plummet in temperature. Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander? Chun Tong and the others looked fearfully at the giant hand, biting their lips. They hadn't expected such a notorious figure from the beast combat domain to make an appearance. This being was someone even Su Zhong deeply feared. Though only a step away from the pinnacle of the perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage, the chasm between these stages is vast, nearly insurmountable. In stark contrast to their anxiety, Lin Dong remained composed. He glanced at the cracked sky, a slight smile tugging at his lips. "So you finally decided to show yourself?" His tone suggested he was already aware of the Blood Dragon Demon Commander's presence in the region. From the spatial rift, dark red light swirled, the giant hand dissipating as a dark red figure slowly descended, drawing the eyes of countless onlookers from Thunder Abyss Mountain. The figure bore long dark red hair, a tall and strong physique, exuding a commanding presence, with a dragon pattern prominent on his brow, radiating authority. This figure was unmistakably the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, one of the 3 powerful demon commanders feared throughout the beast combat domain. With his arrival, the primordial energy of the world roiled violently, an unfathomable aura of near-reincarnation power enveloping the area, invoking dread. "Indeed, a power of the revolution stage," Lin Dong murmured, eyes narrowing. This level of opponent was formidable even for him. When sealing an alien demon general within the Flame God Hall, he had the backing of many strong allies and Tang Xilian's leadership. Now, alone, despite his growth and strength, defeating a revolution stage powerhouse was daunting. Thunder Abyss Mountain fell silent under the commander's oppressive aura, many strongholds' faces turning pale with fear of the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. Ignoring the fearful gazes, the commander lowered his eyes, staring like a ferocious beast down at the singular figure below with an icy, murderous glare. Lin Dong met his gaze, his youthful face betraying an unsettling calmness, exhibiting none of the previous disconcertion he felt at Demon City. Their stares locked, freezing the air, an ominous tension filling the atmosphere. Thud. They appeared, and upon seeing the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, their faces alternated between shades of blue and red. The 2 mighty warriors, each having reached the perfect completion of the Death Mystique stage, had joined forces, yet found themselves in such a predicament at the hands of a young man merely at the minor achievement of the Death Mystique stage. This truly filled them with shame. An interesting lad indeed. Over the years, aside from the other 2 great demon commanders in the beast combat domain, you are the first to dare show such disrespect to my Blood Dragon Hall, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander remarked, casting a glance at the 2 leaders before turning to Lin Dong. His calm voice finally broke the oppressive atmosphere. "You're too kind, Demon Commander," Lin Dong replied with a smile. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander fixed a sharp gaze on Lin Dong, his eyes flickering as he spoke again. "Are you unwilling to provide the yearly tribute to my Blood Dragon Hall?" These terms weren't directed solely at you. They were the same for Su Zhong back then. Su Zhong is Su Zhong. Lin Dong clasped his hands towards the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, neither showing much fear nor arrogance. "I've said before, Blood Dragon Hall remains the dominant force in this area. Thunder Abyss Mountain will not compete for anything, but as for the so-called tribute, it is not something I can accommodate." Over the years, Lin Dong had fought many formidable opponents as he advanced step by step to his current standing. Yet, he had not encountered anyone who could make him bow his head and offer tribute. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander before him, though undoubtedly powerful, was still far from reaching that level of dominance. Chen Tong and the others watched Lin Dong, who dared to confront the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander head-on, and broke into a cold sweat. Facing such a formidable force at the revolution stage, no one here was unafraid. Yet, the young man before them seemed to inherently lack any concept of fear. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander narrowed his eyes, the space around him rippling as if carrying the faint sound of dragon roars, making the skin of many strong individuals crawl. Silence lingered in the air for a while before the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander finally broke into a faint smile. "If you don't wish to pay tribute or offer sacred items, there is another way." The 2 leaders of Blood Dragon Hall were initially shocked upon hearing this and were just about to speak. However, they stopped upon noticing the playful glimmer in the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's eyes. Chen Tong and the others were equally surprised. not expecting the notoriously tyrannical Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander of the Beast Combat Domain to be so amenable. Nevertheless, while they were pleasantly surprised, Lin Dong raised an eyebrow, looking at the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander with a smile. Then what does the Demon Commander want? Heh, clever. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander chuckled, and his eyes gleamed with a fervent light as he pointed at Lin Dong. I want the top-tier dragon martial art you cultivate. If you hand over this martial art to me, I can exchange it for 2 sacred items. What do you think? It seemed the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander had set his sights on Lin Dong's sky-transforming dragon art. However, it wasn't surprising given his nature. Being close to the dragon race himself and possessing dragon bloodline, he could naturally appreciate the profoundness of the sky-transforming dragon art. The genuine dragon's might exuding from Lin Dong was undoubtedly a result of this martial art. If the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander could obtain it, he would not only refine his own body but could also purify his bloodline over time. To him, this martial art held an extremely powerful allure. Lin Dong's eyes narrowed as a cold smile formed on his lips. He had anticipated the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander had motives, but he hadn't expected his ambitions to be this grand, boldly coveting the sky-transforming dragon art. In the sky, the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander looked at Lin Dong with a faint smile. Deep within his eyes, greed and ferocity swirled, while the primordial energy behind him gathered like a boundless ocean, rolling toward Thunder Abyss Mountain with a crushing sense of urgency. You want this martial art? Lin Dong looked at the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander and smiled. I'm afraid you can't handle it. Hand over the martial art to me, and I will grant you any request. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander proclaimed, gazing down at the young man below, space behind him twisting remarkably. I know you're quite capable, having such fighting prowess at the minor achievement of the Death Mystique stage. Being called a genius is an understatement. However, throughout the years, many geniuses have been wiped out by me. Believe me, at this moment, you still lack the qualification to contend with me. I can give you the chance to continue growing, provided you hand over that martial art. The vast primordial energy converged behind the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, vaguely transforming into an endless giant dragon with 6 wings, obscuring the sky so that even the heavens turned dim. The entire realm was enveloped in this terrifying pressure, trembling uncontrollably. Lin Dong raised his head, his dark eyes meeting the awe-inspiring presence of the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. His clothes fluttered wildly in the wind, and after a long pause, a grin broke across his face. A formidable adversary at the revolution stage indeed, but if you truly want to challenge me, bring your full might. In the sky, the eyes of the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander suddenly turned sharp. Not the true body? Chen Tong and his companions were equally startled. They gazed in astonishment at the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander, whose terrifying presence towered in the sky. Their hearts trembled even more. This was merely a demonic spirit's projection, yet it was already so formidable. If it were the true body, wouldn't it be even stronger? Could someone at the revolution stage be truly this powerful? You truly have keen eyes, young one. The Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander's eyes locked intently on Lin Dong, and after a moment, he smiled faintly. However, when you truly come face to face with my true body, perhaps you won't even have the chance to regret it. I hope it doesn't come to that. Erasing a genius is always regretful. Demon Commander, you'd better leave early. I've already given you my answer. Lin Dong turned, pausing in his steps, and tilted his head slightly. His dark eyes, like deep pools, stared at the Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander. And please believe me, this martial art, you truly can't handle it. So, don't bring trouble upon yourself. The sky-transforming dragon art was passed down by Qingji, a martial art so rare that even within the Dragon Clan, only a very select few could practice it. And this Heavenly Dragon Demon Commander was in no way considered a pure-blooded Dragon Clan member, far from being qualified to cultivate such a skill. Chen Tong and his group, along with the 2 leaders of the Blood Dragon Hall, briefly fell into a trance before their eyes turned peculiar. The former thought that this man was as domineering as always, while the latter sneered at the audacity of the young man. After all these years in the beast combat domain, no one who challenged the heavenly dragon demon commander had ever survived. What a stubborn fool, not heeding warnings. The heavenly dragon demon commander, too, paused and then chuckled, though his smile was quite grim. He extended his large hand and suddenly grabbed downward. In that case, I'll just have to try a different approach. Boom.